Hello everyone, welcome back to ENR MCC car project tutorial videos. In today's video, we'll be creating the drawings. So it'd be one drawing that incorporates two sheets for the front and rear configuration. So I have my front configuration that has a 0.150 through all 1024. The rear configuration is just a through all 0.236. They utilize the same dimensions here. Description is 3/8 by 3/8, 60/61 aluminum. And again, you have your name and the author. So let me just move this to my other screen. And I actually have the file open, right? So I have my front configuration. Again, it utilizes my 1024 tapped hole. And for the rear configuration, it utilizes a through all 0.234 diameter hole. Let's jump in and create a drawing for these. It should be pretty straightforward. Again, you've probably created more complex drawings so far. This is one of the easier ones. I'm just going to go to File, New. Again, since I've added my MCC template, it's going to show up here. If you don't have that added, just follow the tutorial under my template, and after in that video, after we actually create the template, it shows how to add that template to one of your file locations. So I'm gonna start with MCC inch drawing. Again, since wheel mount is already opened, it actually says, okay, this is the model view. For some reason it does not pick anything, or if you just started the drawing and didn't have the file open, you can just browse and just load up wherever you saved your wheel mount. So if I go to my view palette, wheel mount, and in this case, let's actually do, so I have my top, and let's pull in this, and I also need my isometric. Let's delete this node and start fresh. So right now, if I click on it, it tells me my reference configuration is the rear. Let's go to front. Also, this one is the rear. Let's look link to parent. And the same thing here. Actually, this is not the one I want. So let's do this. Let me go to this view, and let's do projected view. This is the view I'm looking for. Just gonna move it somewhere in the corner. And that's front. Again, if you really double check, make sure all of them are front. Let's delete the center mark, and we're at our own. Again, it's a pretty straightforward drawing, so let's go ahead and go to annotation. Before I do that, I'm gonna throw in my center mark for this. One thing I want to point out is these are hidden lines removed. Sorry, hidden line visible for these two views. For this one, I'm not going to use parent style. I actually want hidden lines removed. Again, we're just trying to replicate, right? We're trying to replicate the drawing we've created, and that's also shown in your drawing packet. So one thing I want to do is, if I go to sheet 2, let's rename this to front. all caps, so it's easier to see. Let's go ahead and start dimensioning this. It's a pretty straightforward drawing. So I have my overall width. Let's do this distance, 0.188. Right, so when I select two dimensions, I get this option of where I want to locate it, and that actually, if I utilize this, SolidWorks automatically chooses the distance. Or if you actually want to toggle your own distance, you can do that. By distance, I just mean how far it is from the edge. Also, if you want to flip your arrows for some reason, if you want it to look like that, you can just click on the arrow, and that it just automatically flips them outward or inward. So I'm fine with this dimension. Let's go ahead and add a dimension here. And let's do that. And it's a pretty straightforward drawing. I'm just going to move this down a bit. Maybe move this up. Let's add a dimension here, 0.375, just as shown on your drawing. I have my other 0.375. Let's drag this out a bit. Again, with this drawing, we have the space. Last thing I want to do is add that 0.188. The scale is 4:1, so that's actually what we use in the actual drawing. You double check that in your drawing packet. So the last thing I want to do is just call out the holes. So hole call out. This one is 1024 tapped hole, and these two are through all 832s. One thing I notice in my drawing packet is I actually call out the front configuration. So let's go ahead and do that. Front configuration. Maybe you want to double click that. Again, anytime you exit out, if you want to change the scale, or you just double click, puts you back in there. Let's change that to, let's say, 22. Make that bold. Just put it somewhere here. Perfect. We are done with our first drawing. Again, a pretty straightforward drawing. Pretty straightforward dimensioning. Again, you can move it around to if you want to create more space for the front configuration wording. This you can move down a bit. But we're basically done with our front configuration drawing. So if I start a new drawing, add sheet. I don't want to add this sheet, so let's delete. So for some reason it's not. So if I do sheet format, if I copy this, let's do this. So if I have my front, copy, paste after. So I have front 1 and front 2. So I think just because I'm doing this on a laptop and not a school computer, if I go in and add a new template, it doesn't automatically pull it out. So that's okay. If you add a new view and automatically does it, that's totally fine. Also, what doing this is a bit of a shortcut, right? Because if I change front 2 to rear, again, right? Because looking at the drawing, the difference between front and rear configuration. The only difference is this hole, right? We have a tapped hole, a tapped 1024 on my front configuration, and on my rear configuration, I just have a 0.236 through all hole. So everything else is the same, right? As you guys can notice. So I don't want to recreate this drawing, right? Because I know I can change the reference. So if I come in, so I have my front all done, right? I'm not going to touch that. Let's go to my rear. If I go to this one, right, it's referencing the front. If I do rear, automatically changes, right? That's the beauty of SolidWorks. Again, if I go to the rear, and when these turn this greenish color, that means that SolidWorks is not able to find the edge or whatever it was referencing. So again, I'm just gonna delete these and redraw them. Delete my center mark. This one is perfect. Let's add a center mark here. Let's see, do I want to use this? I don't want extended lines. Let's take that out. I don't want to. So in this case, I'm not going to use the document full. So I'm just going to untoggle extended lines. Okay. All right, we can make this bigger. We can do 0.15. If you really wanted to follow the exact same format as shown in your drawing packet. If I go to Smart Dimension, again, we're going to have to redimension this. And we're also missing this dimension, 0.188. Drag this out a bit just to clean it up. This right now is referencing the front. Let's do rear. Beautiful. Let's change that to rear configuration. Beautiful. So this is right. So if I go to my front, I have my front all set. And what I did is basically just copied everything because I wanted to have exactly where the views are, right? The positioning of the views is exactly the same, right? You're thinking about making sure that your drawing is neat. And if you have two different configurations, there is no reason that they should not be placed in the same position, right? It's the same views, unless one configuration is more complex than the other, then you might require to add more detailed views or section cuts. But in this case, right, both configurations are exactly the same. The main difference, or the only difference in this case, is the hole located right here, right? So we have a 1024 tapped hole in the front configuration. We have a through hole in the rear configuration. So perfect. So we have our two different configurations, and we are all set with this video. So again, I already have this made and saved, so I'm not gonna go and save this again. But make sure you save, and then you generate an e-drawing, right? So publish the e-drawing. It takes a bit to load, but once you have that e-drawing generated, right? So I have if I go to Sheets, two different configuration that we just created, and you can go to File, Save As, and save that drawing. And we're all set. So thank you for watching.